So, we're going live. We're going live. Oh, I can see people coming in. This is one of the best moments for me. I see people pouring in. The webinar is open. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon from Vienna. It's good to have you people here. Alexi, by the way, do you see the number? Do you see the number of people coming in?
I don't have that visibility.
It's my luxury because I see it, and it's very rewarding. Everybody, welcome to this session. Today, we're going to be talking about ROI. I'm super excited. And with me today, Alexi. It's so good to have you.
Thanks, Jürgen. It's a pleasure to be here. And hi, everyone in the audience.
Perfect. Hey, why we wait? Because it always takes a minute or two until all the people are here. FYI, you see the session is being recorded, right? After the webinar, you get a follow-up email with the recording, the slides we're about to show you here, and also the full Forrester report that Alexi and his team were working on. Okay. To bridge the time, everybody, let's do a quick heat check. I can see still people are pouring in. Let's do a quick poll, okay? Help us do a quick heat check. Who's here and who's having which challenges? Share with us. Okay, please, everybody, participate. Give us something. What are your biggest challenges in influence marketing? I'm curious to see what you guys are up to. Okay, I can see people are here. Good. Let's jump in. Hey, everybody. My name is Eugene. I'm a VP here at Kolsquare. And with me today is Alexi. He's been leading this research that Forrester has done with our clients. And I'm super excited for the results to be shown today. Alexi, welcome again.
Thank you, Jürgen. And hi, everyone who's joined.
Perfect. Before we jump into the results and before we jump into the numbers and the study itself, let's explore the situation we are in today. Everybody knows this. I know you love the industry as much as I do. We love it for its size. It's enormous. It's growing fast. It's about to double in the next 3 to 4 years. And almost everybody in this room today watching is committed to actually spend more money. In all our research, we found that people are eager to spend more, do more, scale more. We all believe in its potential. At the same time, something like this happens. A message like this lands in your inbox, or you see it on LinkedIn. I'm sure everybody has seen it. Unilever going all in, 300K creators across the globe. This creates a ton of attention. This creates curiosity, but also confusion. It creates FOMO, and this is a real feeling because even your boss's boss, she's reaching out to you and asking, if they are going all in, why aren't we? What are we waiting for? Why am I not in the news? So we all know it's not that easy to scale, right? It takes a ton of effort, and with more budget, more scale, comes more responsibility. And the first question your CFO might be asking you is, what do you actually plan to do with the money? Where's the money going? What do you need it for? Well, that's actually a very good question, right? We at Kolsquare, we have a rough idea of where the money is actually going. Doesn't matter which company, at least 50% of the entire budget, more than half of your budget is going to creators directly, which makes a ton of sense, right? This is your number one partner, they get all the money. But if you want to go all in, if you want to scale like Unilever and all the other big brands in the world, you need infrastructure. You need the data, the measurement, the payment, the reporting. Scaling isn't possible without all these infrastructure basics delivered, right? And guess what's actually the biggest? I wanted to show you the results here. And guess what the biggest, what the hardest thing to scale is actually in influencer marketing. It's actually building an amazing team with all the knowledge, the skills, experience, but also to make them productive, efficient, effective. It sounds easier than it actually is. And in the end, if you try to scale your spendings, your creators, your team, the next question your CFO will be asking you is it all worth it? The mother of all questions, is it really worth it? This is the question we try to answer today. The question is, what is the ROI? And it's a very difficult question. That's why we're here today. The majority of marketers say that measuring ROI is their biggest challenge. Most difficult thing to do. That's why I'm extremely happy and thankful and super glad that Alexei and his team did this research, interviewing our best clients and finding out how do they define ROI? How are they measuring? And some of them have already scaled pretty far. How did they actually do it? Okay. And with this in mind, I'm handing over to you, Alexei.
Thanks, Eugen, and hi again, everyone. I'm Alexei Wolaj, a consultant with Forrester. Very happy to be here today, and I led the total economic impact study, as Eugen mentioned earlier, of Kolsquare. And so really today I will walk through the study findings, what we found, so essentially the key insights, including the ROI, the benefits that some actual customers of Kolsquare achieved, and we'll also cover how we went about with the study, who we spoke with, and then we'll dive into the results. So I suggest to get started. And first, I will start by explaining what is a total economic impact, or TEI, as we commonly name it. So the TEI is a proven, consistent, and repeatable methodology that we've been using at Forrester for really decades now, and the purpose is to justify technology investments. And so when we do these TI studies, we take a comprehensive approach where we speak with actual customers and users of a solution, so in this case of Kolsquare, to really understand and evaluate the benefits and the value that they get from the solution. And here we look at both quantified and also unquantified benefits that are experienced by customers. We also look at the costs of a solution, and here also we look at both the direct cost of a solution, but also the indirect costs that can be related to a solution. And we also look at the flexibility factors, which are the advantages that organizations can expect in the future from an investment in Kolsquare today. And so we look at all these different aspects and elements, and we risk adjust all of them to take into consideration the different factors that can impact the realization of these benefits, costs, and flexibility factors. And so before we move into the study itself, I suggest taking a step back and looking at the broader influencer marketing landscape that the organizations we spoke with, but also you in the audience, are operating in. Influencer marketing, as we all know, has matured significantly over the past few years. It's no longer an experimental channel, but for many brands, it's now really a core part of the media and content mix used across product launches, brand campaigns, performance initiatives, and also digital commerce. And so as a result, what we see is that the programs are getting larger, more frequent, and also more international. At the same time, the market has also become much more fragmented. The brands are working across multiple platforms, different formats, and different creator types, and often across several countries all at once. And so that fragmentation creates a real operational complexity with different tools, different metrics, and also different ways of working by the different markets or teams. And so one of the biggest challenges that we consistently see is around measurement and attribution. As influencer marketing expands, teams really struggle to answer some basic questions like what is working well, where is it that we're getting value, and how do we compare across markets and segments. And so really without consistent data and processes, it becomes difficult to scale programs with confidence. and also to demonstrate the impact of influencer marketing to leadership. Um, and On top of this, there are also some increasing expectations around the governance, transparency, and brand safety with regulations that are evolving, the disclosure requirements that are getting stricter, and the brands that are much more conscious about reputational risks. And that puts a lot of additional pressure on the teams to have visibility into who they work with, what the content is being published, and also how the performance is being tracked overall. What we're seeing, to summarize, is that influencer marketing is a channel that is growing in importance, but also in complexity at the same time. That context is quite important because it explains why the organizations we spoke with, the customers of Kolsquare, were actively looking to rethink how they manage, measure, and also scale influencer marketing, which brings us directly into the customer journeys and the TEI findings. To perform, yes, again, I believe you want to
Alex,
interact.
let me just jump in. Thank you so much so far. I just wanted to check with the audience again, right? Because we talk about ROI a lot, and we wanted to also pick your brain again. Give us your input, what you believe are your biggest challenges when it comes to ROI, right? We let Alexi talk and present his findings, um, and we let the audience take a look at this poll and maybe give us something back so we can reflect on this a bit later. And in case I haven't mentioned this yet, you can send us question in the chat, and we have a Q&A session in the end where we can answer all of your questions, right? So feel free to just send them to us, and we have a moderator here in the back end who's able to collect all of them, summarize them, and we'll get back to you later. Alexi, back to you.
Thanks again. To perform the analysis, we take a multi-step approach as part of the TI methodology. First, we start with what we call the due diligence, which is reviewing Kolsquare's platform's functionalities and the influencer marketing platform space. Then we speak with the actual customers of Kolsquare. So in this case, we spoke with 4 different customers, and we try to understand what their experience with Kolsquare is, also how they use the platform, and what are the benefits that they perceived. And discussions are just between Forrester and these customers for them to speak really freely about their journeys and experience. And as you can see here, we spoke with customers in organizations of different sizes, which give us a good coverage and rich data to build the case study on, and with operations in different regions and countries, so ranging from one organization operating only in France to another one operating across 20 countries in Europe and Middle East. These customers were in different sectors, from retail and beauty to skincare and fashion. And so the people at these organizations that we spoke with were in various PR and influencer marketing and communications roles. Based on the inputs and the data that we collected throughout these interviews with the customers, we put together a financial model as well as a case study that offers a lot of details around the findings of the study. And so what we found when we spoke with these customers is that these organizations faced several challenges prior to adopting Kolsquare. First, the data was fragmented across different teams and countries. The organization didn't have a central system, so each local team kept its own lists and spreadsheets. With one customer here on the right, from the quote mentioning that at the European scale, it was challenging to get harmony with the data. Actually, there was no harmony at all. Second challenge was the heavy reliance on manual content monitoring. So the teams were checking social media platforms manually on evenings and even on weekends to see if influencers posted as expected, as one of the customers also mentioned on the second quote here on the slide. And finally, also another point was finding influencers was quite inefficient. Without a good searching tool and searching functionalities, they will also manually again search through social networks and rely sometimes on personal judgment to find what they thought was the good influencer for their campaigns. And with one customer even highlighting how long it will take to search for influencers without having the certainty that this person was the right influencer for them. And another challenge that we found is that there was a limited credibility of influencer marketing internally because the data was siloed. There was no professional platform internally, and the processes were really ad hoc and manual. The leadership was not really trusting the numbers that were coming out, and the function was not seen as a strategic one, but more like what was something that was not, yes, strategic essentially. So collectively, all these challenges made it difficult for these organizations to scale their influencer marketing programs and to prove ROI, which is exactly why they started looking for a solution.
Alex, it sounds like influencer marketing is impossible to do perfectly because it's a complex market with all these challenges, proving ROI, and it's a dynamic environment as well, right? People are having a hard time. So especially condensing it to these few challenges and insights, it's clear that brands are looking for something, that helps them make sense and, removes a ton of invisible labor.
Yes, absolutely, and essentially that's what the customers were looking for, a platform that would solve these exact issues. As one of the customers put it in this quote, they were looking for a single source of truth for all their influencer data, automation to capture influencer content and metrics without manual work, better search and discovery. So that they could find the right influencers more precisely and faster as well, and also some standardized reporting to show consistent results and also gain internal trust. And so to build the financial model and quantify everything for the case study, we created what we call a composite organization, which is a hypothetical organization that we built to reflect the dimensions of the customers we spoke with. And so this organization helps us translate the data and the elements that we heard and apply it to that one organization. And so the composite organization is really the baseline of the financial model creation. And so in this particular case, the composite organization that we created is a consumer brand based in Europe with influencer marketing operations across 10 countries, a team of 40 PR and influencer marketing employees, running about 50 influencer campaigns per country per year, so about 500 over the 10 countries, and with about 15 influencers per campaign on average. And so that composite gives us the concrete basis on to quantify the benefits and costs. So everything that will be presented in the results of the study will be from the perspective of that composite organization.
Yeah, it's clear the brands are staying anonymous, right? This is for privacy reasons, but at the same time, it's clear that it's also massively successful and big brand, right? Active across so many countries, and honestly, having more than 6,000 creators per year actively working with the brand already puts them in a top bracket compared to all of the market, right?
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we saw in the previous slide, whether that was describing these different customers we spoke with. They were big brands operating across countries, different segments as well, with multi brands.
Beautiful.
Great. So here is a summary of the 3-year benefits that we calculated for the composite organization. So they're all in present value terms, meaning that we discount the future cash flows for to today's value. So it's accounting really the value of today's money in the future. So there are 3 main categories of benefits that we quantified. The first one is the influencer profile search time savings. So that's the time essentially that's saved by the teams by finding and vetting influencer, which is much faster with Kolsquare. The second benefit is the campaign content tracking efficiency improvements. So that's the time saved and the work saved by automating the tracking of influencer posts and metrics. And the third benefit is the reporting and analysis time savings, which is the efficiencies in generating reports and extracting data and insights directly from the platform, thanks to different features of Coursera, such as the social listening and also the centralization of data. Uh, and so you can see that there is the approximate breakdown in our chart for the different benefits in monetary value. So the first one, influencer profile search time saving, is around 360,000 euros. The second one on campaign content tracking is 226,000 euros, and the reporting and analysis is 278,000 euros over these years. So now I suggest to go through each one in more detail and talk about
Let's break it
how
down.
Square,
Yes.
yes, exactly how it helped deliver these outcomes. So the first benefit, which is the faster influencer discovery and vetting with Coursquare. So what we heard from the customers is that before Coursquare, their teams were spending a lot of time manually researching the right influencers. And with Kolsquare, what they mentioned is that they got access to a lot of advanced filters, and the centralization of the profile is that really helped them cut that time dramatically. So in the financial model, what we found is that 75% of the influencers are now activated in campaigns through Kolsquare. And for those, the time to find and qualify and confirm them so has dropped by 45 minutes each. So all of that manual time that was spent making sure going through the each profiles, making sure it was a correct influencer for the campaign is now cut almost entirely. And so when that's multiplied by the thousands of influencers that are engaged over all the campaigns, all the 500 campaigns per year, that's a lot of time savings. And so in financial terms, that's equal to close to 360,000 euros over the 3 years in present value. And that's really the the time that was saved. To really put it simply here, that's the team can really reallocate this time into higher value work and run also more campaigns without having additional team members. So that's really critical here. And as one of the customers mentioned in here on the quote that's on the slide, before they will have to look themselves, spend about an hour, search, analyze, confirm all of this manually. And with Kolsquare, it's no longer the case.
It makes a ton of sense in your composite company, right? You have 40 people in the team. You don't want 40 people browsing their phone trying to find, based on gut feeling. It needs a structural approach, right? It saves time and increases quality.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all customers mention the credibility scores of the influencers that really help them make decisions faster. So that's a really critical and foundational element of the benefits that they got with Coursquare. And so the second benefit is the campaign content tracking efficiency. So customers mentioned that with Coursquare, they now have automated collection of the influencer content and performance during the campaigns, which is saving the team a lot of admin time. What we found is that on average, Coursquare helps save about 5 hours per campaign by just eliminating the manual checks across social platforms, who posted and when. That the platform, the Kolsquare platform, just puts that all in one single source of truth. And so for the 500 campaigns a year, that adds up, and the findings here show that it's about 226,000 euros in over the 3 years. And one of the customers really told us that with Kolsquare, they no longer have to do these manual checks to see if the influencers posted exactly who posted and when, and they have the direct access to the analysis. And that really shows the peace of mind, because they also mentioned that they never miss any content. So there is also confidence that no influencers, has maybe delivered without them noticing. So that's a critical element as well that they mentioned.
We just did the poll, right, before, and the majority of people, at least 25%, told us that they're having a hard time finding the right KPIs, right? So it's not only the content tracking, but it's also having a report that has all of the right KPIs baked into the system, right? So you have to think less and you can just act on whatever you see.
Absolutely, and that links directly also to the third benefit that we saw, which is about reporting and analysis. What customers told us is that with Kolsquare, they can generate reports and gain insights much faster because all of the data, the campaign performance data, as well as competitive benchmarking from the listening tool, is all right there at their fingertips. And so for that benefit, we broke it into three different pieces. So the first one contributing to that benefit is the time saved on preparing campaign performance reports, which is about 10 hours saved per country report each time they do one, since they no longer have to manually gather the data, clean it, and also make it consistent across the different countries and teams. The second one is the second factor contributing to this benefit is the time saved on sharing results internally, and that's about 30 minutes saved per campaign on average. And what we heard from customers is that they get requests from other teams, like product teams internally, asking them how their certain campaign is performing. And so they now have the ability to share directly a link with these colleagues that before they would have had to copy and paste in an email, send that email, which will take about like 30 minutes on average. So that's some time saved per campaign. And finally, there is the time saved on competitive and brand positioning analysis, which is about 20 hours per country per year, due to Kolsquare's listening module, which helps them see how they rank among the competition in their segments, which would have been quite extensive in terms of work before without that functionality. And so all these elements contribute to the this benefit, which is about 278,000 euros over the 3 years. And here we also included a quote from a PR manager at beauty and skincare companies who say that with Kolsquare they can really have the platform work on its own. When the campaign is over, they just pull the data, include it in their reports, and it's very fast. While before there was extensive manual work to consolidate all that data across the different countries.
I mean, you can imagine we love hearing this kind of feedback from our clients. But what is especially great, I think, is like an independent party like Forrester is validating these numbers, improving that the question that I mentioned before, is it worth it, right? It seems to be worth it, right? Because just in saving time alone, influencer marketing becomes the faster, more efficient channel, wasting less time.
Yes, absolutely. And what we heard from customers really, in essence, is that they all mention how critical and foundational was Kolsquare to their influencer marketing function, and that they wouldn't even see themselves doing influencer marketing without the platform. Uh, so it was really mentioned as the backbone of their influencer marketing function. And beyond the numbers, only the interviewees also highlighted some important benefits that, well, were not translated into numbers, that we call unquantified benefits, but that's also just as important. Here, the first one is the enhanced brand visibility and market positioning due to the social listening function of Kolsquare. The customers mentioned that they can see how their brand ranks against competitors on social media, which also helps them feed ultimately their strategy overall. They also mentioned the better campaign performance and agility through the integrated analytics of Kolsquare. They can see mid-campaign how they're performing, what is working and what is not working, and make adjustments throughout the year. Another unquantified benefit that was highlighted is the professionalization and credibility of the influencer marketing function internally, which links also directly to one of the challenges we were mentioning earlier with the consistent data and formal processes with Kolsquare. The influencer marketing teams at these customers' organizations has gained trust and visibility within the company, which was mentioned as really crucial for them because they were struggling with this aspect previously. There are also some reduction in reputational risk that were mentioned by the customers, with Kolsquare providing transparency into the influencers' backgrounds and metrics, as well as their credibility, which help them avoiding missteps or selecting the wrong influencer, and just overall ensuring that the partnerships are aligned with the values of their brand. And another benefit that was mentioned was the improved employee experience. We discussed this throughout the last slides, but really by having a professional tool and a professional platform for the team, help them, saving time even on weekends before where they had to scroll through social media to see the content. Now it's all automated, and they no longer have to do this, and they can also focus on more strategic tasks.
Difficult to quantify, but 100% extremely important. I mentioned the questions from CFOs, probing hard on spendings and on tactics sometimes, and credibility, professionalization, happy team members is already an amazing side benefit for everybody.
Absolutely. And now, looking at the costs to achieve the benefits, so there were some deployment efforts that were mentioned by the customers to set up Kolsquare, which took about 25 hours of internal work by two people for the composite organization to test and configure the platform, and then a short training session of about 1 hour for the 40 users to just get familiar with the platform, which then give us the deployment efforts of short of 5,000 euros here. And then there was the license fees, which is for the composite scales here. So 40 users across 10 countries, including the social listening modules and all the features, which is about 144,000 euros per year, which over the 3 years equals to 376,000 euros, and the two costs altogether are 381,000 over the 3 years. And so finally, when we look at the main results of the study, we found a return on investment of 127%, which is translated into a net present value of 483,000 euros over the 3 years. And so another important aspect that we found is that there is a quick payback period of less than 6 months, which means that under 6 months, the initial investment in the platform is reimbursed. So everything after that is a benefit.
Can you maybe explain the NPV again?
Yes, so the NPV is the net profit of an investment today, but accounting for the cost and the timing of cash flow in the future. So we apply a discount rate of 10% year over year to take this into consideration, the fact that it's an investment today, but the value of money over time evolves.
Okay. So when we think about ROI for tech, for tools, for things that you need as an infrastructure to scale, brands actually get the money back that they invest in Kolsquare in less than 6 months.
Exactly. So the initial investment is paid back on less than 6 months. Yeah, that's the payback period here.
Brilliant. Alexi, thank you so much. There is so much data. What can people expect from the full report? There are more breakdowns, more details. Everything.
Yes, absolutely. I would invite everyone to look at the full study. There are a lot of very interesting details, and you can also apply the findings to your own organization. So you will see the breakdown of the calculations for all the benefits and all the context that's supporting all these different benefits. So I would invite everyone to take a look at the full study.
Brilliant. Maybe it's hard to see from the other perspective, but this is a project that takes months and months to conclude, right? All the interviews, all the putting the findings together. So I really appreciate this insane effort.
Yeah, it's a very comprehensive approach where we do due diligence, customer interviews, and yes, I'm very, very happy to be sharing these results today.
Thank you so much for you and your team, of course. I highlighted the link here, everybody, for those people still here. You can download it now using this link, but of course, you will also get the report via email into your inbox very soon. We have time for Q&A. Everybody, you can share your questions in the chat, and we will see the questions and go through them bit by bit. Alexi, you also see the questions here in the Q&A and in the chat. I have highlighted a few. Our team. Thank you for the people in the back end. For helping us keeping the overview. One of the questions is, and maybe this is something that I can give insights to, is we are still depending on the influencer who accept or don't accept to share their metrics. Wait, can I show? Yeah. Maylene is asking, right? Saves, shares, etc. How do you handle this? I suppose with you, she meant Kolsquare. And FYI, we have a ton of data in the platform that we directly get from the first-party platform holders, right? We have different technology getting all the information, all the data into our platform. Everybody also has the possibility to request on Instagram the audience connect or the business connect with the influencer, meaning even all the audience data and all the additional data from the business manager can be imported into our platform, right? Creators still need to accept this, but even without this, there is no opt-in necessary to get a ton of data from creators into the platform. Good. There was one question from Lucy. Alexi, maybe you can talk from your experience interviewing clients. What is the first KPI that you would recommend tracking, right? What is something that the interviewees told you the most important or the first KPIs if you want to really focus on measuring ROI?
Yes, there were a few. I would say it was more of a really comprehensive view and global view that the customer shared, especially when we talked about how Kolsquare was really helping them develop and being performant in their influencer marketing. Of course, they all mentioned the typical, of course, KPIs that we know, the EMVs, the interaction rates and so on. But really, what I would suggest is that it's also dependent on your own organization and what you're looking for. So organizations might be looking for different things and might have different contexts. And here, what I really invite again the audience and the person who has that question is to read the case study of the TI. Yep. Because it really shows the different scenarios, the different KPIs also that the customers mentioned that was relevant to them during that process. So.
Alexi, of course, the results focus a lot on the team, right? We spoke about this in the beginning. Scaling the team is the most difficult one. The composite company had like 40 people in the team. Have people ever mentioned agencies or other, external resources that they use in their process? And was this also part of the calculation?
Yes, so actually it was. So some of the brands we spoke with were partnering with agencies, and they also mentioned that these agencies were also using Kolsquare with them. So there was that shared platform use with the agencies. So that was something that was mentioned. Also working with other brands, that was specifically the case for the retailer, working with different brands. And what they mentioned is that there was also a gain of credibility with these brand partners that they were selling in the market, because they were able to have that professional tool when doing campaigns. And so there was a gain of trust from the partner brands that was working with that retailer.
Interesting. Let me just highlight again what we've seen from the poll that we did earlier in the beginning, right? No surprise here. We know that ROI is the biggest challenge. I mean, no surprise. People are here to learn about this. So we kind of nailed it, right? Or the people confirmed what we had in mind here, the biggest challenges. And let me also come back to this. I mentioned this earlier, right? When it comes to measuring ROI, what are the biggest challenges, right? And it's across campaigns. And we saw this, what you presented, right? The composite companies, they have like across 10 different countries. finding the right KPIs. These are challenges that are not easy to solve, right? You need a ton of expertise, you need the data, you need the structure, right? The source of truth, as you mentioned it before. It's good to see the numbers confirmed from the people here in this webinar. Alexi, maybe one more question. I can check if more stuff is coming in. One of the questions was the companies you talked about are operating across many different countries, right?
Mm.
So clearly, you have a centralized team, you have local activation. What are the challenges when operating across many different territories, right? It must be challenging, right, to get the right cultural differences, maybe different kind of, I don't know, approach in different countries. What did you learn about this, like from an international standpoint?
Yes, absolutely. And what we heard from the customers is they were having challenges in terms of consistency across the different countries, as you rightly pointed out. So the data sometimes that was used to capture the results was not always consistent across the different countries. Different ways of sharing these results, different ways of working essentially, and that's where they mentioned that Kolsquare helped them a lot because it created a unified view across the different countries and a unified way of working across these different teams, so that they could really, speak the same language when it came to influencer marketing, which helped them in terms of communication across the teams and also reduce manual work, trying to understand sometimes how things were done or how the measurements were done of certain campaign performance. So that's what was mentioned to us from the customers.
Last question, maybe. What did you learn about maybe the one biggest item across all of the different fields, right? We have from discovery, campaign management, the reporting part, right? What was the one item that popped out over and over, maybe, that was repeating the biggest pain maybe for people?
In terms of the biggest pain, I would say that was mentioned. The biggest challenge was really not having that centralized view of all the influencer marketing. So it was so fragmented across the different, I would say, streams of the influencer marketing lifecycle. So from looking for influencers to or creators or really consolidating the data, everything was spread around and created a lot of silos within the organizations and we a lot of different separated work. So that was the main challenge. When it comes to the benefit of Kolsquare, really the main point that came through all the customers interviews that we've done is how foundational the platform was to run the influencer marketing on a daily basis.
Alexi, thank you so much. It's super interesting and actually also super proud that these results prove, what we've been always thinking, hoping, and hearing from our clients. But, seeing this quantified is really satisfying. Maybe to come to an end, because we're far over time, time's running fast if you have fun. But for the people still in this call, right, in this webinar, maybe 3 questions to take away. You can read the report anytime you want, right? But ROI is a very difficult beast. We know that the leadership team, they will always scrutinize the budgets, do more with less. It's just the reality we live in as marketers, right? So asking yourself the most important questions every quarter, every time you need to challenge yourself, really helps you, right? Do you really have all the visibility, what your team is doing, on the data you need to prove that it is worth it? Because I believe it's worth it, and thousands of users believe it's worth it. So I really hope that you get some good insights from the report and from this webinar. Alexi, thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate the work done by Forrester. It was fun. It was an amazing project. So I'm super happy that we had this highlight webinar today. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you again, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. If you want to get in touch, right, on the last note, you can reach out via email. You can find us on LinkedIn. Send us your questions, your feedback. Send us hearts, gifts, whatever you want. I really appreciate all you guys staying for so long. Thank you for the attention and speak soon. Bye-bye.
Everyone.